hello, 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 hello. It is so good to be here. I'm Donalyn Riley, your go-to authenticity expert in your sales business, right? I'm helping network marketers and independent salespeople just like you to know and grow your business so that you can grow the business that you actually love. It's a super snowy day here in the Northeast of the US. And so let me know where you're coming from and how it's going there, and definitely tell me if it's 80 degrees, please. You do not want to miss today's topic. Today we're talking about one key principle, right? That can be the difference between the success that you want and failure. And you need to know this at the beginning, right? So we're going to get right into it. First, I'm going to check all my tech here, and just including my sweater, and just make sure that I'm here with you guys, and that you're here with me. I just love coming to you live, and so I'm so glad to get to do that. Let's just give it a little check-see. If you can hear me and you can see me, I see a love button. I see a love button. That's very helpful. Put something in the chat. Let me know. Thank you. Put something in the chat and let me know where you're from and how cold or warm is it, because you know I love that warm weather. So I need a little inspiration. There's like, I don't know, a foot and a half or 2 feet of snow out there. It's crazy. Yeah, good. Okay, looks like that's all happening, and I will trust in the tech gods to get me there, right? The other thing I just want to mention is that I love coming to you guys on the different platforms. So thank you so much for connecting in with me on the platform that you're on. Right now we're live on 3 platforms so that we can really connect, right? Because the tech should not be the thing that differentiates who gets to hear something good and who doesn't, right? But I do want to be where you are. So here we are. I'm glad to be able to do that. I am always here for you, right? So feel free to reach out to me on the website. It has all my contact information at DonalynRiley.com, DonalynRiley.com. Sometimes I go so fast that the text on the bottom gets all messed up. So I slow it down for you, right? In fact, I want to make sure you stick around until the end today, because I do have a special gift for you today. So happy holidays, but it's not coming until later. No, it's not coming until later, because you know those gifts that you get sometimes where like if you got them before you understood the meaning and the value of them, you just would be like, okay, whatever, it's a rock, and and that's kind of how this gift is. If you stick with me and we get to have this conversation today, then you will find a value in what this gift I give to you at the end, which is totally free. I think you will really, really, really find great value in it. And it's one of the reasons I'm excited to get to give it to you today. So, as I said before, we're talking about one key principle that can be the difference between success and failure, right? So often, so many times I'm asked, what is the most important thing, right? What is the most important thing to getting a sales business off the ground? And we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of that, okay? Because That's what they say in the olden movies, old time movies, right? They say, oh, that one has grit. And it always sounds so like forceful and uncomfortable. So I'm not really sure we want to have grit, but we do want to have stick-to-itiveness. We want to have the ability to grow our companies. We want to have the ability to enjoy our companies, right? Because that is the purpose of living life in general, yeah, but also that is really probably the purpose that you chose to go into the line of business that you went into. So, as I said before, I'm Donalyn Riley. I'm your go-to authenticity expert, helping network marketers and independent salespeople just like you to grow your business with authenticity so that you grow a business that you actually love, right? So I want to dive right into what does everybody else tell you is the key, right? Is the how do I not fail? How do I succeed? What are the things I need to know, right? Because everybody goes out there and they're looking for that. They want to know, right? Okay, how do I do it? And these are some of the things that you will hear from other people. One person actually talks about how you should fail tons. That sounds great, right? Can't wait for that. That's going to be a great day. Let's fail all the time. It's not necessary. Not necessary. Okay. So that's first busting of that myth. Remembering your mistakes. This is really like we're kind of going in the opposite direction of where we're trying to go, right? So if you're making mistakes, remembering the mistake may not be the best course of action from that position. Don't make any changes. This is another one that you hear a lot is don't make any changes. Everything will be fine. Just stay the course. Just keep going forward. Sometimes that's appropriate, no doubt, but not always. And probably not right at the beginning of your business. So we're going to get into some of that a little bit later. But then we hear lack of focus, right? Well, bing, 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 not enough focus. Or lack of motivation, commitment, passion. Oh, they didn't have enough passion to do it. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that there has not ever been someone who says, I really want to do that, who doesn't actually have the passion in that moment. That's not where the thing falls apart, right? It isn't the passion to do it that fell apart. It's that life gets in the way and there's resistance along the way, right? Things get harder and harder and harder. And when they do, and you don't find an easier way forward, it's hard to stay connected to that passion, right? Another one is too much pride. People hear too much pride. How about you guys? Is anybody hearing this, right? Are you guys hearing these things out there in the world? Because I will tell you, I have seen these articles and blog posts and in books and all of it. They say, oh, you got to do it this way. Oh, you got to do it that way. And you feel like you're in this box, right? Like, oh, too much passion, not enough passion. Oh, wait, too much pride, not enough pride. What happens, right? Taking advice from the wrong people. You hear that a lot, right? Lacking good mentorship is another way to say that, right? Lacking general knowledge and lacking specificity in your knowledge, not knowing how to manage finances or marketing or any of the other parts of it, right? Raising too much money, not raising enough money, right? You can hear every side of the argument on this. And then they get real personal and they start talking about not getting enough sleep and not planning enough and not volunteering enough and not getting enough feedback and not having enough humility and, knowing your why, not knowing your why enough. We're going to talk about the why. We're going to talk a little bit about the why in a little bit, because if you've been hearing this, it's worth talking about. It's worth clarifying exactly how a why works, right? So I'm going to get right to it and tell you the one thing, the one key, because all of those things are sort of in orbit around the thing that nobody is talking about. And that is you, your inner knowing, you knowing you, right? You being able to be in control of you, to know where you're going, to know what you want, and to know how to get there, right? And those are not things that you can read on the internet. Those are not things that you can get in a book. You can't get them there. They don't exist there. They exist here. And so knowing how to access that is really, really important. Now, I'm going to tell you this story, actually. Let me check in with you guys a little bit. I do love seeing you. So let me know if you feel like this is something that you'd like to hear more about. Just put in yes in the chat or the comments if this is landing with you, right? Because tapping into your inner knowing, not everybody wants to do it. Some people just feel like, no, I just want to know the formula. How do you give me the marketing materials and I push the button and it's done, right? But when you're really successful at something, in order to be really successful at something, you're going to have to tap into something a little deeper than that. Okay, so put it on in there. And besides, yeses are good for your brain. If you've been hanging out with me for any length of time, you will know that, right? So give me a little yes. Okay. So, when I was a young girl, I wanted to work. I was going to say I wanted to work in the theater, but it's not really true. I wanted to work on Broadway. That's what I wanted. The theater is a very general term. I wanted this thing. I wanted to go to New York, and I wanted to go back to where my family was from, which they did not live in anymore. And I wanted to be able to do this thing on Broadway. And I was about 16 when I decided that. And I was about 18 when I participated in my first Broadway show. And that tiny amount of time, right? That 2.5 years that it took from idea to top of the profession, right? To playing with the big guys, to really getting in there and learning all the different ways that people participate. I was there for many, many years after that. I got to go back to Broadway and back to Broadway and back to Broadway. And I was really, really, we say lucky, but in fact, I had a knowing. It didn't yet have a why. Some people have a why. And whys are really useful when you have a lot of pressure. So if you have some pressure in your life and you think like, I want to make enough money for this or that or the other thing, right? I want to keep my family from being in strife. I want to be a good role model for my child, right? That these are all reasons that are part of that sort of why conversation, that they can be really useful. But if you don't have an inner knowing of who you are and what you want and how you exist in the world, then getting any of that is really hard, right? And that's part of what that pressure gives us, is a point of focus. So if you've got a why, good for you. If you haven't, don't worry a bit about it, because you don't need it for the purposes of this work, right? Because this work will help you get there with or without that bigger sort of goal in your life, right? So inner knowing is nice, but it leads to something in business. And that's the thing that's really important. It leads to confidence, right? It leads to that feeling of being able to move forward. It leads to an ability to tap into yourself, into places in you that mean that you can move forward. And so when other people look at you once you have a little system for inner knowing, when they look at you, they say, that one's confident. That's what they said about me when I was doing the Broadway thing, right? My brother was already there. He was working on another show. He took me out to lunch. I was, 18 years old or something, and I thought I was all that. And he took me aside and he said, hey, this is hard for some people because he's older than I am. It took him a while to get there. And he wasn't wrong. There's no disrespect intended, no matter how long it takes you to get from where you're going to where you are to where you're going. But there is an easier way, right? And so you can learn this work and get there the easier way so that you don't have to do some of this other stuff that they talk to us about in all these articles and books, right? The lack of focus, the lack of motivation, the too much pride, not enough pride, don't rock the boat or make lots of changes or, fail fast and furiously, right? Right? So we can do this a little differently and a little bit easier, a little bit softer, and way more effectively, way faster, right? So, have you guys ever heard of a guy named Charlie Rose? Put it in the chat. If you know Charlie Rose, put it in the chat. Charlie Rose was he just actually, I was just noticing that he came off of the television a few years back, but he had an entire career on TV, and he really is kind of a television journalist, right? And when I was in the theater, in the Broadway theater, one day somebody I was working with said, go over and interview Charlie Rose for this or that. And I went there and I interviewed him, and he was a big deal, right? Everybody was, making sure he had his coffee and all that. You know what I mean? Like, he was a big deal, and he was a big deal in that time period. He talked to very, very powerful people in that time period. And it was a big deal, and it felt like a big deal to me, right? But I did not kind of register that as a really big, huge deal. I didn't act all fluttery around him. I didn't worry about, like, was he going to like me or not like me? And I got back from doing the job, which was the job that I had to do. It was a cool job. It was a really cool job that day. And somebody, I handed the tapes over, and somebody said to me, aren't you, like, impressed? I mean, you're totally nonplussed. You're like, oh yeah, so what? Right? And inside, I felt like this is a really good life. But outside, I looked confident, right? Because I wasn't worried about it. And how I got there then, and how I have learned to get there over and over and over again, regardless of the business that I'm in. I have done so many different things. I have gotten to work on Broadway for many years. I've gotten to lead a multi-million-dollar company, retail company, for many years. I got to do, like, all these different things, right? And be in different relationships to money, to sales, to creativity, to marketing, to all of the things that attract people into business, right? So I want to talk to you about a tool, a system, really a system, a method that will help you to get from where you are to where you want to go by using that inner tapping in, by learning to look inside and then be able to use the information outside. So there is a system that I developed called the AAA method of transformation. Okay, so AAA, there's 3 A's. There's really 4, but we'll pretend there's 3. You ready? Awareness. That's what we've been talking about, right? Figuring out how to have some awareness of where you are, of how it feels, of what's going on, right? And then accurate assessment. Now, this is a real key to this system, to this method, because if it's not accurate, It's not assessment, right? It might be, you might be assessing, but if you're off track, then you won't get the sales. You won't be able to make the phone calls. You won't be able to do the follow-up. You won't be able to get out of bed in the morning, maybe, right? And then adaptation. And this is really where you take action, right? Which a lot of people do way early. They just go like, oh, I'm supposed to do it like this. And they jump in and they go, okay, I did it. And it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Go back to awareness. Go back to awareness, right? And that's what we do. We go back. We go back to awareness. And that is how it supports how the brain works. So the first, I got ahead of myself. Hang on. The first thing is awareness. Let's go into a little bit of depth there. Knowing yourself, right, is not easy for people to do. So knowing yourself, sometimes it requires a few mechanisms in place, a few tools. And I want to know if you guys ever use any tools to kind of dive deeper into you, into knowing you. Some of those tools could look like meditation. Meditation is a great tool to know yourself a little better. They could look like talking to someone, talking it out. Sometimes people love to do that. Coaches are great for that. If you're doing one-on-one work in particular, right? If you have a coach, I have 2 coaches right now, and it's a nice way to be able to work out a problem or to get to know yourself deeper, or to say, I didn't know that until it just came out of my mouth. Writing is another really good mechanism. So if you guys use any of those, put in, I use them, right? Let me know. Or what else do you use, right? Because there's a lot of ways that you can do some self-discovery. And self-discovery is really, really important to the ability to find confidence within you, because confidence, as I said before, it's an outside view in. It's the inside job. It's not about confidence. It's about self-awareness. It's about knowing, right? Let me check in with you guys, see how we're doing. It looks like sometimes it doesn't update. And so I'm just going to take a second, see if I can find you. It's like a little game of hide and seek that the internet gives me. Love it. I am so glad that you guys are here. And I am glad that I have the internet, because there's 2 feet of snow outside and I don't want to go there. So yes, okay, all right. So here we go. Very good. So let me know. Getting back to business here. Let me know. Do you meditate? Just put meditate. Do you do any kind of talk therapy? Do you do any writing? Do you do any mechanisms that are about self-discovery? There are many, many, many. And I love to do a lot of them. So I think they all have their own time, right? They all have a little time period in your life where they're really, really effective. Number 2, accurate assessment, right? So what you're going to get out of that knowledge, that self-knowledge, as it relates to your business, is knowing why. Why don't I want to pick up the phone, right? I had a client say to me just recently, I really don't want to call this person, and I don't know why. I don't know why, right? So there was some self-discovery to do there. She wanted to make the phone call. She wanted the outcome, right? The outcome of, yes, I want to give you the money for the service that you're providing, but she didn't want to make the phone call. And so knowing why you don't want to do things, why there's procrastination, that can all lead to, that sort of self-discovery again, can lead to an accurate assessment. Because what happens if you say to yourself, it's just anxiety, I'm going to power through. That's what people love to tell people to do all the time is like, oh, just do it, right? Just do it. You can just power through it. You can just be uncomfortable. It's okay. But the problem is sometimes that works. It does. It's really painful and you don't have to go through that. But sometimes you get to the other side and you go like, okay, it was good that I mustered up that courage to do it, right? But much of the time, you get into a situation where you just pushed through to get there, and all of a sudden you realize there was another reason. I know why I didn't want to make this phone call. I wasn't quite ready in this way. I knew that there was a little more investigating that I needed to do in this other way, or even I wasn't quite in the right emotional space and I wasn't quite sure of that, right? There are a lot of reasons. And if you don't accurately assess, then you cannot pick an adaptation that will work, right? You're going to pick an adaptation. You're going to leap into action. Yes, of course, everybody does. But once you do that and you get out there into the world, I have this cat who I adore. His name is Angus. And he loves the world so much and he loves doors so much that if he's on one side of a door and you open it, he will run through it and then find himself in the next room and go like, oh, where am I? What am I doing here? And that is exactly what happens when we make really poor assessment and we just move forward, or when we just take action. Oh, the door opened. I think I should go through it, right? And then we go like, wait a minute. I don't know how to do this part. I don't know how to connect with this person. I don't have the right equipment to do the work. I don't have the right product to do the work. I don't have the right languaging. I don't yet know enough about me and about you to be able to create a connection, right? All of those things are the things that get in the way. So it all starts with inner awareness, right? Because what happens, so let's say you make the adaptation and you do it successfully. Let's say you use this system, this method 100% effectively, and a week goes by. You know what happens in your brain when you have a new thought, which is what you just produced there in that method? You have a new thought, and what happens is your neurotransmitters have made superhighways, right? They connect clickety, 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 click, and there you got superhighways, and that's why, oh, you know how to ride a bicycle, and you know how to do this, and you know how to do that, and you're like, nope, I got this. I know how to push the buttons. I know how, right? And that's when your brain is working really fast, superhighway, right? When you have a new thought, it's like going on a dirt bike path, right? So it's all janky. I don't really have a right word for that because it's all bumpy and it doesn't go fast and it's really difficult. And you get through to the other side. You make a good decision. You go all the way through. And then you have to practice it. It's called entrainment. You have to make that dirt bike path into an actual superhighway inside your brain. And there are very specific things happening with your brain waves that have to be dealt with. And that's one of the reasons that I want you to have the gift that I'm going to give you at the end, is because of that, is because we're going to really talk about that. What are those pathways and how do we affect them and all of that, right? So it all starts with inner awareness and confidence. It helps to build your confidence in you and your confidence with the world. So now I'm going to give you the gift. Are you ready? Do you like a gift? Put it in there. Gift, gift, gift. We want a gift. Go ahead. It's nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you. So the gift that I have for you today is a full 1 hour training for free, completely for free, and completely on your schedule. So right now, this is the biggest deal for me, is that knowing when I'm going to be available and being available, because it's, you know, December and it's little got holiday scheduling going on here, right? You always get interrupted. You think you're going to be able to make time, and then you can't make time, and then you go like, oh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, I could do the thing, or oh, it's, you know, a time I didn't expect to find myself by myself. Maybe I'll be able to listen to this recording. So it's completely on your timing, okay? And that is a full 1 hour recording that is about the fast track to confidence, right? The fast track to unstoppable confidence. And in it, I go through what it takes to really be unstoppable, what the myths are that keep you from being bold in your business, right? How to finally tap into that confidence and really get a good system going. We've talked a little bit about it today, but if you get into it at a little more depth, you're really going to benefit from that, okay? And then, of course, how to supercharge those results. So it doesn't take much of your time, and it is a very, very good recording. So I highly recommend you go and get that. Oh, I said that as if you had the link. You know what it is? You know what the link is? It is DonnaLynnRiley.com/confidence. And we will make sure that it is in the comments on all of the different platforms, right? But it is DonnaLynnRiley.com/confidence, and you will find everything you need there so that you can get that one key that is going to keep you moving forward in your business, that's going to keep you on track, that's going to keep you from that failure that so many people predict for new businesses and for small businesses, right? But we can do this. You can do this. So, okay, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I will make sure, or the comments, I will make sure that we get to them and that we answer them. My goal, as always, is to make business easier, more successful, better, for you to have a better experience. And so, of course, if you're getting value out of this, feel free to share it with your friends so that they can get value as well. So you can invite them to any of the channels that I am on and let them know. Of course, they can pop on over to that DonnaLynnRiley.com/confidence and get that free 1 hour full training so that they can too learn how to really tap into that, so that you don't have to have those jitters when you pick up that telephone or when you get on the in social media and go like, I don't know, what should I say? I'm not sure. How do I do this? You know, I never did find that button. And besides, who wants to hear me, right? If those are the words, the thoughts that are going through your head, then go get that free gift. Okay. I will see you guys next week, even though it's Christmas Eve. I will be here. So if you would like to be here, I can't wait to see you. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.